Hey everyone, it's vmcampos, comic book fan. Welcome to another episode of the weekly vmcampos Comic Book Club. This is the series where I review a comic book, new or old, from my collection and rate it on the factors of the cover art, interior art, plot, and enjoyability of the book on a scale of 1 to 5. And then I tell you to get it or shred it. This week I'm reading the Autumnal, number 1, second print, published by Vault Comics in 2020. For the audio version of the podcast, head on over to your favorite podcasting app, search for vmcampos, and subscribe. Spoiler alert, I will be going through the various pages of this book, but I will not give away the complete plot because you are encouraged to visit your favorite local comic shop. Support the small businesses that are in it for the love of comics. Find a local comic shop near you and tell them vmcampos sent you. Support your favorite companies, creators, and local comic shops. Alright, let's get started. First with a little bit of background information. So the Autumnal, this is one of these independent comic books from a smaller press, Vault Comics. I mentioned it in my new comics coming soon videos that I do on the YouTube, where I preview for people comics that are coming in several weeks ahead. That's my video that I publish every week about the final order cutoff date comics, the pre-order these comics before they come out, before they sold out. But wouldn't you know it, I didn't take my own advice and I didn't pre-order Autumnal in time. It sold out, so I went into second print. So I have a second print this time around. This is a brand new series. It's been pretty popular, pretty scary. Let's talk about it in detail. Alright, the cover art. This is by Martin Simmons. It's the 4th variant cover. It is an amazing, horrific cover with some sort of corpse. Well, at least I hope they're dead. There is a body with bloody hands, which I think actually the ends of their hands, the skin has been torn off. And worse yet, there are tree branches growing from their eye sockets with an amazing color palette of reds and yellows, a variety of autumn-colored leaves falling with just an inky black. This cover is amazing. It's a 5.5 out of 5. Simmons does a great job of just creating a horrific cover to preview you what the book is about. There's just some sort of horror element to it, and this cover right away puts you on edge. It's horrific. It's amazing. 5.5 out of 6. All right, we'll talk about the interior art. We've got Chris Shehan on main artist duties, Jordy Wordy as the colorist, and Jim Campbell as the letterer. Okay, interior art. The continuation of the uneasiness is in the book right off on the first pages. The gutters between panels are not the clean, white spaces that we would see in many other comic books. They are jagged, they are half completed, they are smudged. So that piece of what a comic book is, the white space between panels, the gutter, even that has its own character of unease, of danger and such. The colors are great. They are kind of dark, but still realistic. In the first part of the book, there's a lot of dark blue and purple colors. On the cool color scheme, there's a couple of sickly greens here and there, until we get to Comfort Notch, and we get a whole new color palette happening after that. So there's a beautiful shift from cool tones to warm tones as the story changes. The artists on this do a great job of anatomy and the word balloons, sound effects and everything. Characters are realistic in a realistic style with a slight edge of cartooniness. Expressions are very good. There's a wonderful shot of the morning rising as the characters enter the night on a Greyhound bus, I guess, and then wake up to a nice bright morning, and then again a 2-page spread of Welcome to Comfort Notch. Great art. This is a 5 out of 5. Okay, the plot. That is by Daniel Kraus. We have a synopsis in the back. Welcome to Comfort Notch. Following the death of her estranged mother, Kat Summerland and her daughter, Sybil, flee a difficult life in Chicago for the quaint and possibly deadly town of Comfort Notch. From New York Times bestselling author Daniel Kraus and rising star Chris Shehan comes a haunting vision of America's prettiest autumn. So it's a great story that really takes you on edge right at the beginning. So right at the beginning, we have the main character, Kat, and she's cursing up a storm as she goes over to her daughter's school to pick her up because there's been fighting, because bullying, and all of that. So there's a seething underbelly of rage throughout everything that's going on here, and despair and anger and broken families and just a lot of bad stuff. So the writer does a great job of presenting all of that, but then with a turn of hope. They're starting a new life in Comfort Notch, moving away from the big city to a home of America's prettiest autumn, population 3,533. Now, there's something else happening here, a very scary sort of plot, because there is a great shot of chalk drawings on the floor, which are kind of scary, pretty horrific what is drawn in the chalk. And we are seeing the main character, Kat, starting to remember as she grew up in this town a few things about it. It seems that after she moved away, it kind of faded away in her memory. She's back in Summer Notch because her mother has died and has left her the house. So she's there to go claim the house. She's leaving a difficult situation in Chicago, coming to this quaint town, which is definitely much more than it seems. Going to be probably very, very dark. I haven't checked what future issues are about. There's probably some like occult stuff and like, I don't know, like rituals and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm intrigued about the plot. I think they crammed in a good amount of exposition at the beginning of the first half of the book, and then exploring the town a little bit, and dealing with such really heavy issues of losing a parent, losing a bad parent, and you yourself trying to be a good parent. So this is a 5 out of 5 in the plot. And lastly, the enjoyability of the book is also very high. I can't wait to see where this book goes. There's a horror element to it. It's well drawn. It's very scary, weird, uneasy type of book. And if you're not into that sort of thing, you might rate it lower, but I'm going to give it also a 5 out of 5 in terms of enjoyability. I've enjoyed it so far. I can't wait to see what else happens in the story with Kat and her daughter, and I hope they all make it out alive. Again, I don't know what's happening in the future episodes, the future issues, but I know not good stuff. But I'm here for the ride for Autumnal number 1. So, should you get it or shred it? I'm going to say definitely get it. If you are into weird, small towns, probably supernatural stuff, again, just based on the cover. If you're into New York Times bestselling authors, great art and so forth, yeah, get it. There's no real reason not to recommend it. So that's what I'm reading this week. Now what about you? Tell me about it in the comments. What comic books are you reading this week? What have you picked up? What are you looking forward to? Don't forget to check out my weekly comic shows on YouTube. Some of them are as short as 1 minute, some of them are 30 minutes, etc. All about comics. Previewing comics that are coming soon, comics that you need to pre-order, comics that are coming out this week, my various comic hauls of what I've picked up that month, and of course giveaways and all that stuff. I've got a lot of comic book related stuff on my YouTube. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. Or head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos. If you pledge at the $1 tier, you'll become part of the VMC crew and be able to access all of the exclusive stuff such as contests and giveaways. At the $2 tier, I'll actually mail you some comic books in appreciation for keeping me funded and keeping me going. Or simply follow for free at Patreon to be alerted to everything that I do, and there's many free giveaways and contests open to everyone. Just follow for free on Patreon. As for this week's book, did you like it? Is it too scary? Would you pick it up? Have you picked it up? Tell me all about it in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, battle the Minotaur, keep up to date with my YouTube. Or find the podcast at your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Google Play, Pandora, etc. Just search vmcampos and subscribe. Listen to the show while you're doing the dishes. Anyway, this week I read the Autumnal #1 second print, published in 2020 by Vault Comics. This has been the weekly VM Campos Comic Book Club, and I'll see you next week.